Hey AI adopters, most teams treat AI unfortunately like a tool upgrade. You might have heard me say this before, but now we're going into the details. They're thinking it's a better chatbot, smarter assistant, maybe a faster summary for your emails, and that's okay, but that alone is the trap. And it is why 9 out of 10 projects fail. I'm sure you heard about that too. The teams that are pulling real money out of AI are not buying better software. No, they are rebuilding the work itself. And this is what today's newsletter is all about. So grab a cup of coffee and let's get right into it. Here are the numbers. McKinsey's 2025 research on workplace AI shows only 21% of organizations have rebuilt workflows around AI. The other 79% are bolting AI onto the process that was originally designed for humans. All right? It doesn't really work, it doesn't mesh well. Half of all initiatives sit in what they call the pilot purgatory. Leave a like if you ever heard of that word before. Maturity across the board sits at 1%, and that's just sad. Now, the top performers do something a little bit different. And what is it? They are nearly 3 times more likely to redesign workflows from end to end. 55% versus 20%. They also pull at least 5% EBITDA impact from AI. The rest, they just pull pocket change, unfortunately. A study from INSEAD and Harvard Business School actually proved this in the cleanest way possible. How did they do it? They took 550 startups, gave them all the same AI tools and training, and then added one extra thing for a single group. And that thing was workflow redesign training. That group generated 90% higher revenue, 44% more use cases, and 18% more paying customers. They needed 40% less capital to do that also. Isn't that great? Same tools, same access. Redesign was the multiplier. And the part that most leaders unfortunately miss and, don't really want to talk about it, failures here are 70% organizational, not technical. The model is fine. The workflow underneath is the broken piece. Now, here's the thing. This is the uncomfortable truth that we'll go to. The reason that most teams skip redesign is simple. Very simple. It costs energy. It costs effort. It is hard. Buying a tool is a budget decision, but rebuilding a workflow is a political one. You have to touch decision rights, incentives, and how teams actually do their job. Most leaders default to procurement and call it transformation. Unfortunately, rarely is that. The California Management Review published a 5-stage playbook called DGRI. I know, 4 letters, but the R counts twice. Stage 1, diagnose and align. Map decision flows in your top 3 workflows. Get leadership buy-in and on outcomes, not features. Stage 2, governance. Assign data and model owners. Set KPIs, build dashboards. Okay, without owners, projects drift into politics and stall. Now, stage 3, this is where you redesign for scalability. This is the multiplier. Replace manual chains with AI orchestrated sequences and route exceptions to humans from the get-go. Now, when the customer says that something went wrong. Stage 4, reuse and rebuild literacy. Build shared prompts, data directories, training programs, all that type of jazz. Your assets compound when teams stop rebuilding the same things from scratch. And then stage 5 is iterate. Treat pilots as learning vehicles. Scale only after the metrics prove out to be what you want them to be. All right? Now, what does this actually look like in practice? A global manufacturer that I looked at cut its financial close cycle from 12 days to 6 days. Manual adjustment dropped by 40%, and audit fees fell 15%. None of that came from buying better software. It came from rebuilding how reconciliation works. On the other side, JPMorgan Chase saved 360,000 legal hours a year through its Coin platform. A $2 billion AI spend, quite a bit, it returned $2 billion in benefits in 2024 alone. And moving forward, obviously. PwC reported 20 to 50% productivity gains across audit, tax, marketing, and IT. And then Mayo Clinic automated lab tasks, increased test volume, and reduced staff burden. These are operating model wins, not prompt engineering wins. And here's something I want you to pay attention to, and that is the human side of things. Satya Nadella has been clear that AI works when human agency stays at the center. Demis Hassabis says the same. All right, these guys agree, so I'm not smarter than them. The breakthroughs come from collaboration, not from the algorithm alone. Your employees already use AI for 30%, and you may not know it. That's actually 3 times what leadership on average estimates. Your team is already ahead of you, and redesigning the workflow really closes the gap. So you kind of have no choice. This matters now because of agentic AI specifically. All this OpenClaw and Hermes agent and Claude and OpenAI, Salesforce agent, Agentforce, Google Gemini, all of them run multi-step outcome loops, and they cannot work if humans are still copy pasting between those tools. That takes away this whole efficiency, the whole AI purpose, right? So redesign first, or your agents will sit idle and your iMac minis can go back to, hopefully you're still in the return window. Now, here are 3 pitfalls I want you to skip if you can. First of all, it's treating AI as IT. It's not. Then, building AI agents onto processes that were designed for humans. And then, rewarding tool usage instead of outcome metrics. Bonuses that count prompts that are sent to the model, they're just producing noise. Bonuses tied to time, to output, they produce results. So what you should do this next quarter? I would suggest that you pick one workflow with the highest pain, maybe multiple workflows if you can handle it, but start with one with the highest pain and the cleanest data that you have. And ideally, pick that from a steward team with a domain owner and a tech owner. Map the decision flow, mark which steps are AI only, which needs human judgment in between, and then which need orchestration. Then set 3 metrics and something like the time to outcome, exception rates, and then a reuse rate, and then you will be pretty much ahead of the curve. Firms that put more than 20% of their digital budget into redesign see 3 to 5 times the return of firms that do not. So let that sink in. That's the real investment in AI. It's not actually AI. Pilots fail because the workflow underneath them was never rebuilt for AI. So fix that and the rest will follow. With all that, I'll see you at the AI Adopters Club. Bye-bye.